Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play Blades of Avernum. Last episode, we happened to go into a mage's tower where a particular mage decided to go back in time and change the past. Her apprentice stayed behind because she has to stop her because changing the past could cause untold amounts of damage and changes to the future. Her first attempt to stop her didn't go out too well. This is our second attempt. Stop what she's trying to do, in a way. Pardon the interruption, the phone rang. Which is, in the past, she decided to, summon a demon in order to get untold amounts of power. It was some kind of deal. Apparently, that deal, she regrets that deal now and wants to change that. So, we need to let time go as it did. Let's go in here. The door creaks open and you come face to face with a demon. A large demon. An ugly demon. These things are all fairly standard for demons, but this one does them all to excess. It glares at you with several misplaced eyes and speaks.
I am Dennis Tar, Duke of the Chained One. You are here to stop the young foolish one, no? You're too late. Her soul is of the Chained One now. I will destroy you, just as I defeated the Elder Mage.
An aura of flames appears around the demon and you draw your weapons. This is not good. Oh dear. Yeah, this doesn't seem at all good. Can we slow him at least? He did get slowed. Good. Acid? Okay, this is gonna work out, I think. Ah. Okay, healing. The demon pauses. You've damaged it rather a lot, but it doesn't seem to be all that phased. It snaps several fingers and some familiar green lines appear in the air, connecting you to where the portal deposited you. The demon snarls, displaying several sets of mismatched teeth. Then it holds up a single glowing claw, and once again everything goes black. A familiar twisting, burning pressure tries to crush you as you fall through the void. You slowly regain consciousness. As before, everything hurts. Eventually, you open your eyes and find yourself in a storage room. Looks like you landed in a pile of what used to be vegetables. You swear as you brush flattened onions off of yourself. Wonderful. That's so much better. Gremlin wine? No. You start to panic as you realize that the door to this room is locked. Even from the inside, the mechanism on the door appears to be more complex than you could ever hope to deal with. Out of sheer frustration, you pound on the door. Barely a minute goes by before you hear a key in the lock and the door opens. Martha looks irritated and tired, but she manages a faint smile. Well, at least you're alive. Yeah, we are. Martha looks much more stressed than before, as if she hasn't slept for days. Alright, well, what now? Well, describe the fight. You describe your encounter with the demon and Martha frowns. Well, it was worth a shot, but damn, can everyone control time except me? And how did I miss the summoning by so much? This is ridiculous, but we have to keep trying. Thankfully, the portal is still operational, and so am I. Mostly. This is exhausting, and I think I'm going to have to start employing some less draining techniques. She pulls a few flasks out of her robe and hands them to you. And, of course, there's always a bit of good old-fashioned alchemy. Drink up, you'll need the energy for what comes next. So what happens next? Well, I feel like we were on the right track. If we can just get Athalia's past self to avoid the demon while Athalia is stalking the basement in the past... She stops and straightens up. And for a moment, she almost looks like she hasn't been channeling all of her energy into maintaining a massive, existence-threatening portal created by an insane mage. That's it! The solution isn't Athalia or even the demon. It's Athalia in the past. If we can stop her from meeting the demon, or even just destroying it until future her leaves, then future her can't interfere and the paradox resolved. So what needs to be done? It's simple. Just go back through the portal, find Athalia. Convince her not to meet the demon or to delay it. Make it a day, a week, it doesn't matter. Not to preserve everything. Just like before, I'll be here making sure the portal doesn't erase existence. If I can't maintain the portal, I might pull you back. Just be ready. With that, she heads back toward the portal. Wonderful. What potion did we get? I got a couple energy potions. Bonnie, drink them. Draco, drink one. Got a couple healing potions. There. Actually, can you make another one? Yes, you don't have ingredients. Okay, then. Alright, we're here. Let's go in here again. Yes, back in the portal. You step into the portal, and this time you don't even try to keep conscious. You black out instantly. This time the trip felt like falling down a flight of stairs. You feel like you're bruised everywhere. You aren't terribly surprised to open your eyes and find yourself at the bottom of a flight of stairs. Either time travel is wildly imprecise, or Martha doesn't like you very much. The next thing you notice is a young woman standing over you. She looks concerned. She also looks a lot like Athalia. A young woman stands over you, her face an equal mix of concern and fear. Judging from her robes, you assume that she is an apprentice mage, and judging from her face, you assume that she is a younger Athalia. Her voice is practically a whisper. Are you okay? Look, if you're here about the missing reagents, I don't know anything about it. I'm sorry I bumped into you. I didn't mean to knock you down. But you've got weapons. Why are you here? We're investigating some unlicensed experiments. That's nice. I don't know anything about that sort of thing, but I'm sure the administrators can help you there. She shifts her weight as she says this, and you hear the clink of glass on glass. Athalia flinches. Is something wrong? No, everything's fine. You hear a sizzling sound. Athalia seems to be trying to ignore it. Do you hear that noise? What noise? Smoke is now visibly rising from Athalia's robe. She starts to walk past you. Look, I need to go attend to a batch of herbs I left downstairs. Good luck with your investigation, and sorry I couldn't help you. She zips past you, and then you hear the sound of glass breaking, followed by swearing. As the sound of Athalia's footsteps fades, you become aware of a sharp tonguing sensation roughly in the location of your lower back. For a moment, the corridor grows darker. By the time you realize what's happening, it's too late. The world goes dark again. A familiar twisting, burning pressure tries to crush you. You slowly regain consciousness, and you find yourself at the bottom of a different set of stairs. You can only assume that you're back in the presence. As for why, you can only guess. Regardless, you should probably find Martha. Thankfully, Martha's still alive. She's just out cold. However, given that she was stabilizing the portal so that you could use it, this is probably a bad thing. Try to wake her. It takes a little while, but you manage to bring Martha around. Her eyes flutter open and she looks around groggily. Then she remembers where she is and she sits bolt upright. I take it that things did not go very well. You can tell how she's trying to cover how exhausted she is, and she's not doing a very good job of it. Explain what happened. Well, knowing Athalia, I guess I'm not surprised. Maybe you still bought us enough time. Okay. We can still do this. I have an idea. Another idea. A better idea. Let's just crash the damn summoning and see what happens. Are you sure that's a good idea? Martha snatches a pair of potions from her belt and chugs them in one go. She looks a little less tired now. Look at it this way. Have you got a better idea? You stop to think for a while, but you don't have a better idea. This is all too confusing for you. You miss the days when adventurers just had to hit things until they stopped moving. That's what I thought. I'll keep the portal stable for you, and with any luck, it'll take you right to the moment where Athalia summons the demon. Oh, and take this. The portal coughed it up a little while ago. Might come in handy. She hands you a thin wand and starts chanting like before. Ivory wand. Okay then. Step in the portal. You step into the portal and amazingly you don't black out this time. On the other hand, this means you have to look at the blinding and bewildering swirl of magic that makes this kind of portal work. Amazingly, you don't end up in immense pain this time. Aside from a minor headache, you're relatively unscathed, and somehow you came out standing up. A familiar-looking young woman seems equally startled by your appearance. She's gripping a fancy-looking dagger and sporting a fresh-looking cut on her arm. You start to yell, hoping that maybe you can stop her before she completes the ritual, but you can only watch powerless as a drop of her blood drips down into a brazier full of herbs. The concoction bursts into flames, and you notice piles of incense at the corners of the room start to burn. Smoke begins to gather in the middle of the room, and you ready your weapons. Athalia, having barely had time to process your arrival, screams, drops the dagger, and runs to hide in the corner of the room.
At last! Who has summoned me?
The demon scans the room and almost immediately notices you. It glares with at least half of its eyes.
You! Why have you returned? Must I destroy you again?
As you watch the demon start an annoyingly familiar motion, there's a crackle from the door to the room. An all-too-familiar figure appears in the doorway, looking perfectly irate. You! Athalia is livid. Her entire body is backlit by eerie arcane energy, and she's pointing a thin wand at the demon. Tell your corrupt master that he reaps what he sows! She makes a quick jab with the wand, and a bolt of energy illuminates the room. It's at this moment that you recognize the wand as the one that Martha gave you. In the future? The demon recoils as the bolt strikes its side, creating a long, deep gash. It winces.
Fool! You hope to defeat me with my own magic?
The demon makes a retaliatory gesture, and another bolt flies across the room. This bolt doesn't strike Athalia. Instead, it strikes her wand, which vanishes in a flash of green light. She screams, produces another wand, and throws herself at the demon. Well, that explains the wand, sort of. At least you get to fight something now. Wonderful! Now we're fighting everything! The demon's eyes, all of them, grow wide as you point the wand at it. You can feel the syllables of a spell rising to your lips, and it would be very easy to just let it fly.
No! Still your hand, lest you bring destruction upon us all!
The demon sounds nervous, and you have no idea what will happen if you complete the spell. Do you? No. You lower the wand. For a moment you glimpse relief in the demon's eyes before it is replaced by blazing fury. It turns its attention back to Athalia, and the wand emits a puff of smoke. Athalia's eyes grow wide as you point the wand at her. You can feel the syllables of a spell rising to your lips, and it would be very easy to just let it fly. No! You can't undo this! Can't you see I've come too far to just let it slip away? Athalia sounds very desperate, and you have no idea what will happen if you complete the spell. Do you? Yes. The spell strikes Athalia in the chest, and she freezes. Her face softens, and the aura of energy around her begins to subside. have failed. You see her body begin to fade away and she turns to look at her younger self. Her voice barely rises above a whisper. I have failed you. Then she is gone. The wand, its magic spent, crumbles to dust. With Athalia gone, you wonder if this will help avoid the paradox that Martha was talking about. Then you realize that there's still a demon in the room. And it's angry. The demon stalks over to the young Athalia, who is still cowering in the corner.
So, you will betray me. This is valuable information. Now, how will I prevent this unfortunate occurrence?
You have a bad feeling you know how the story is going to end as you notice the world growing dark around you. You are thrust into yet another void. This one, at least, is full of stars. You wait for that familiar feeling of being yanked back to the present, but it doesn't come. At least the stars are pretty. And all this time, you haven't worried about paradoxes, crazed mages, or even how you're breathing right now. It's almost relaxing. The stars abruptly wink out of existence, and you suddenly feel like your entire body is being crushed by some invisible force. A familiar falling sensation terrifies you as the crushing force intensifies. You scream as you fall into the inky blackness. Slowly, you regain consciousness. You're in a grassy field. You can hear birds chirping happily as if none of this had ever happened. For just a moment, you consider the possibility that you didn't make it. You wander around aimlessly until you spot a road to the east. Soon you see the lab building where all of this started off to the south. Okay. Oh. Wow, this is bad. You have a bad feeling about this. The lab is a wreck. You can see a huge obelisk through the empty doorways. This doesn't sound promising. There's destruction everywhere. You are at a loss for words as you approach the obelisk. It is engraved with the Empire's familiar crown symbol, and below it there's some text. Small trinkets have been piled around the base. There's also a highly detailed bas-relief. It depicts a team of mages attempting to subdue a rampaging demon. You're not sure you're ready to read the text. Oh, I see. You read the sign. In memory of all who died on that fateful day. Philip Esther Shire, Hobart Winden, Athalia Karenni. The list continues. The stairs down to the basement are buried in rubble. Of course, if things unfolded the way you think they did, the stairs might have been blocked intentionally. You aren't going to be able to go downstairs. Ericton, 50 miles west, Harvin, 73 miles east. Having survived the ravages of time, you are awestruck by the beauty of Torlis's wide-open plains. Now that you know what happened to Athalia and Martha, there's nothing really keeping you here. Best of all, you're alive. Leave the scenario. You wander off to the nearest town, specifically the nearest tavern. Unfortunately, a few strong drinks aren't enough to stave off your guilty conscience. Occasionally, one of the tavern's patrons asks you about your adventures, but you don't feel like telling any stories today. The end. So that happened there. But I wonder what happens if you choose the demon. I'm going to try to reload and see what happens. Okay, we've made it back again. Summoning occurs. There's the demon. And there's Athalia again. He gets rid of the wand. Oh, crap. Hold on. How about I get a bit of haste out, just so that he can do it at the start. Yes, yes, go through all this. Right, into combat, and this time use the wand on the demon.
No! Still your hand, lest you bring destruction upon us all!
Yes. The spell strikes the demon in the chest, and it freezes. Its features contort into a furious and horrifying knot. It screams something in a language you can't understand. You see its body begin to fade away, and it turns to look at the younger Athalia. Its voice trembles with rage.
Traitorous wretch! I swear on the name of my master that...
Then it is gone. The wand, its magic spent, crumbles to dust. With the demon gone, you have a bad feeling that you've created the paradox that Martha told you to prevent. Athalia, now looking almost serene, slowly approaches her younger self, still cowering in the corner of the room. It's okay now. I promise you it's okay. You're going to be just fine. That's weird. Athalia's body seems to be fading away. In fact, it looks like the room is growing darker. You're going to be more than fine. You're thrust into yet another void. This one, at least, is full of stars. You wait for that familiar feeling of being yanked back to the present, but it doesn't come. At least the stars are pretty. And all this time, you haven't worried about paradoxes, crazed mages, or even how you're breathing right now. It's almost relaxing. Stars abruptly wink out of existence, and you suddenly feel your entire body is being crushed by some invisible force. Scream as you fall into the inky blackness. Alright, and we're in the field. Soon you see the lab building where all this started. Let's see what happened this time. Well, the lab is still standing. There are no signs of damage, and you're pretty certain that all of existence has not yet ended. You're also not getting the same foreboding feeling you had before when you first approached the building. Okay. That's promising. So what happened here? This door is different from when you first saw it. It looks a lot sturdier and the locks look very complex. There's also a sign on it. Please leave approved deliveries by the door. Visitors are forbidden without travel requisition form 63A-E3. Researchers may identify themselves according to standard protocol. Martha Allingham, Director of Theoretical Magic. Well, this is different. Sadly, it looks like you won't be able to get inside to investigate things earlier. Further. Now that you know what happened to Athalia and Martha, there's nothing really keeping you here. Best of all, you're alive. Leave the scenario. You wander off to the nearest town, specifically the nearest tavern. After a few strong drinks, you're reasonably certain that you avoided unraveling all of existence. Eventually, you ask around, and it seems that not a whole lot has changed. Martha is in fact the new director of the lab, and Athalia left the region over a decade ago. Still, when people ask you about your adventures, you usually skip over this one. Even you're not sure you believe it after all. No. Okay, so that's that, but there's still one more thing I want to try. There's one other thing I'm curious about. Give me a moment. Alright, entering combat. Now, let me see what happens if I use the wand on the past version of oh, I can't. The wand smokes gently but doesn't do anything. Strange. Okay, never mind. Let me just get through this. Alright, so I guess I can't do this stupid thing and take a third bath and completely screw up time. Okay then. I guess doing what Athalia wanted this whole time was actually the wise thing to do. Odd. And unexpected in a way. Oh well. I guess that's it. You know, I've heard the name Warp in the past, but I expected more. I don't know. I don't know. Well, either way, that's the end of this episode. Scenario was nice and short, not too terrible. And I guess next episode we'll move on to a different scenario. Till then, I'm Chester44, that is Fox, Sheik, Bonnie, and Draco. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.